Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Back with more content covering the final day of group stage games and the final round of group stage play for groups B and C. The final round, very exciting games, and wow, we saw pretty much every extreme aspect that exists in football in all these games. We saw teams get incredibly lucky and incredibly unlucky. We saw incredible success stories and colossal failures. A lot to talk about, so let's get right into the video. Starting off with the first set of final match day games, you had Guatemala playing against Guadeloupe in Houston and Panama versus Jamaica in Austin, with both games in the state of Texas. Starting with Guatemala versus Guadeloupe, in the 13th minute after a VAR review, Guatemala was awarded a penalty kick after Oscar Castellanos was taken down hard in the box and injured his ankle. He eventually had to come out of the game early for this injury. But it was Jose Carlos Pinto who scored the first goal on this penalty kick. And from there, it was an incredible performance by Guate that saw them score two more goals. Escobar in the 28th minute and Rubio Ruben in the 70th minute. And while Guadeloupe was able to score two goals in the 50th and 78th minutes, with Guatemala clearly playing like the better team, these goals really felt like garbage time goals, and Guatemala wins 3-2 and finished second in the group. Guatemala just, honestly, wow. There were a lot of doubts with this team, especially in this group. Many believed that what we saw in 2023 would be, the ceiling for this team. But la selección de Guate, in my opinion, they have played better in 2025. They've really proved everybody wrong, upsetting Jamaica, and they are once again in the quarterfinals. Moving on to the next game, Jamaica versus Panama. Panama looking to get all 9 points in the group and finish first. And not only did they win, it was a dominating performance, 4-1 for Panama, with Ismael Diaz scoring a hat-trick. An elite performance from him all around. And Tomas Rodriguez got the fourth goal on a terrible giveaway by the Jamaicans. Panama won the group and celebrated in style, with Tomas Rodriguez going into the stands to celebrate with the first group of Panama fans that he saw after that fourth goal. And the team even joined in with him. RIP to the fan who did fall. He absolutely drilled it while celebrating that fourth goal. That will never not be a funny moment for sure. But a great way for Panama to celebrate with the fans that did turn out for the game. That is something we rarely see, and that is a moment that, makes you love CONCACAF football, even with some of these smaller attendances. And after winning the group in incredibly convincing fashion, I gotta say, Panama right now looks like the best team entering the quarterfinals. As for Jamaica, this Gold Cup campaign was a colossal failure in every way possible. And you gotta imagine that Jamaica's unemployment rate just increased slightly after this disaster. Oh yeah, like if I were a sports journalist in Jamaica right now, my segment in their newspaper would be how the entire coaching staff for Jamaica should be fired after this failure. They had so much potential to work with. 14 players on the roster playing in England in either League One or better. And Steve McLaren and the coaches did so much less with it against everyone in the group, including this Panama team that the coaches have sworn they were better than. Clearly not. And they did so much less with this much talent, with a poor formation and style of play that saw the midfield just get completely destroyed in these games, especially in this game against Panama. And yes, some of this you could say is also on the players. Jamaica made a lot of dumb mistakes in this game, but you also saw Bailey, Bell, and Russell get goals. There was still a lot of good to work with, but the game plan and style of play was not resonating with the players. They looked out of their element under McLaren's coaching, and we saw the red flags when they played in the Unity Cup. And in this Panama game, they looked like frauds, absolute frauds. I want to talk about the last group, so I will just conclude this segment with this. It is currently just past 11 p.m. Pacific time as of filming this video. if the coaching staff is still employed and they still have jobs within Jamaican football by the end of the week, that would truly be just disgraceful. Because right now, it does not look like these coaches with these players will do good in the World Cup qualifiers for CONCACAF, because they already got grouped in their own continental tournament against teams that they claimed they were superior than, but they weren't. Now moving on to the very last group stage games deciding the final two spots in the quarterfinals. Canada versus El Salvador, and Honduras playing against Curacao. Starting with the game between Canada and El Salvador. This was an ugly win for Canada and a completely undisciplined performance by El Salvador. Two players got red cards in this game for El Salvador. Santos Ortiz was given a second yellow card in the 35th minute. Then 15 minutes later, after Salvador goalkeeper Mario Gonzalez made a great save on a penalty kick to still keep Canada scoreless despite being a player down, it was Jairo Henriquez with another stupid foul, an elbow to the face of a Canadian player right as play was being stopped for another previous foul committed outside of the box. Henriquez, after a VAR review, was given a red card, leaving El Salvador down to 9 players, undoing Gonzalez's great work and making that save. And at that point, it was only a matter of time. It was only a matter of time before Canada would score and go on to win this game. As for Canada, they won 2-0 with goals from Jonathan David and Tejan Buchanan. And while Canada was the better and more disciplined team, this game does leave much more to be desired from Canada, in my opinion, given they were playing with an extra player advantage for almost 60 minutes of this game and a 2-player advantage for the entire second half. Granted, at that point, it is fair to go a bit easier and rest your players for the quarterfinals, but even with your substitute players, you should be shelling this team with a 2-player advantage. Canada they're in the quarterfinals, they topped the group, but the team has not been anywhere near as convincing as they were when they beat Honduras 6-0 in the first game. As for Honduras in their game versus Curacao, a win and Honduras would have advanced on, and in the case of a draw, Honduras would need El Salvador to lose, and should Honduras have lost the game, it would have been Curacao advancing into the quarterfinals. So matchup definitely to watch for sure. I actually had a friend who was at the game for Honduras. So I was mainly watching that game, rooting for Honduras, and hoping to see if I might see my friend on the TV broadcast when the cameras turned to the fans. But in terms of the game itself, it was Honduras who scored first, with Jorge Alvarez scoring a great goal from outside the box that went perfectly into the top corner of the net. Just a great goal all around, giving Honduras a 1-0 lead. However, in the 42nd minute, Curacao got a crazy equalizing goal that made the game much more stressful for Honduras. And frankly, nobody on Curacao really got credit for it, or should have gotten credit for it, because, well, I definitely did not have Honduran goalkeeper Edric Menjivar, who has been a pretty trusty goalkeeper for the team. I did not have him scoring an own goal on my Loteria card, but that was what ended up happening. On a corner kick, Menjivar ran up and made an attempt to punch the ball away to clear it out of danger, but instead ended up accidentally punching the ball into his own net, which tied the game 1-1. A very ugly mistake by Menjivar for sure. But fortunately, in the second half, Menjivar did not have any other worse mistakes, and Honduras was playing like the better team, but looking unlucky as they had 2 shots hit the goalposts. And entering the final minutes, it looked as if Honduras would just have to settle for a draw, which still would have been enough to finish second in the group. However, in stoppage time, Honduras capitalized on a Curacao giveaway at midfield, and this creates one more breakaway opportunity where it is Luis Palma who scores a great game-winning goal for Honduras, sending Honduran fans home, like my friend, happy and excited, as Honduras win 2-1 to advance into the next round of the tournament. You gotta like the bounce-back story that Honduras has had in this tournament, going from losing 6-0 in their first game, just about everybody writing them off, at that point to winning their next 2 games to play their way into the elimination rounds. Great to see Honduras win in their final group game in San Jose. And with these results, it will be Panama and Guatemala as the top 2 finishers in Group C, while Jamaica and Guadeloupe are eliminated from the tournament. And in Group B, Canada finished first in the group, Honduras second, and El Salvador and Curaçao are also out of the tournament. And with that, the quarterfinal matches are official. They are confirmed, set to go. Panama, as the winner of Group C, will play Honduras, the second place finisher in Group B. The winner of that match will play against the winner of the game between Mexico and Saudi Arabia. Canada will play Guatemala in the quarterfinals on the other end of the bracket. And the winner will play against the winner of the game between the U.S. and Costa Rica. The first 2 games will be on Saturday to compete for a spot in the Gold Cup Final Four. We'll see what happens. But that will be all for this video and final day recap of the Gold Cup group stage. Leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and stay tuned in for more football content as I cover the Gold Cup. Leave your thoughts on the games in the comments below. Thanks for watching and listening. I'll see you guys in the next one.